Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody. Tonight we're going to check one out from one of my favorite channels called That's Impossible, and this is the Grand Canyon Mystery. I know nothing about this, so let's check it out, see what it is.
Have you ever stopped to wonder about the mysteries that may lie within the Grand Canyon?
We're driving back from Yuma, Arizona,
I used to live there.
and I look up in the sky. It's kind of hard to tell. There, that thing. What is that?
I mean, it's a beautiful place to look at, to take pictures, and to visit. But what if I told you that maybe there's much more to it than anyone would ever imagine?
It was an era of giants, dinosaurs, and bears.
And what if I told you that in the 1900s, a supposed archaeological find was published in the Arizona Gazette? An archaeological find that would shatter absolutely everything we know about humanity. And it was supposedly covered up, making it possibly one of the greatest cover-ups in human history. And if all of this isn't strange enough to make it even weirder, to this day no one knows exactly if it did happen or not. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at pictures, videos, and evidence that may actually support some of these archaeological finds. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
I've been to the Grand Canyon,
right?
but I was a little kid. I don't really remember it.
Never told me that was fun.
I think we just drove by it.
Known as one of the most mysterious and beautiful places in the world, the Grand Canyon is visited by thousands of tourists every single day. It is one of the most studied landscapes in the world, with extensive fossil records and a multitude of geologic features and rich archaeological history. In 1908, President Roosevelt wanted to declare the Grand Canyon off limits to all timber and mining operations, and feeling that this could be a final opportunity to explore minerals like gold, silver, and copper, explorer and researcher G.E. Kincaid took a boat down the Colorado River. He wanted to see if he could find something in the area before it was completely closed off to the public. So G.E. Kincaid and Professor S.A. Jordan, both explorers and supposed archaeologists working for the Smithsonian, set off the Colorado River to explore the Grand Canyon. About 42 miles upstream from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon and 2,000 feet up the canyon wall, G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan spotted what appeared to be some sort of stairway that led to a huge cave. And at this point, they did what anyone searching for minerals and gold would do, and they went inside the cave. Now this is where things take a turn and become really, really strange. According to Kincaid, the entrance to the cave was described as a tunnel-like passageway that was large enough to accommodate several people walking side by side. He also describes that 60 feet into the entrance you'll find, branching off to the right and left of the cave, a number of rooms the size of living rooms that have these oval-shaped entrances and ventilation systems.
Man, I'd love to go in there.
Little by little, Kincaid and S.A. Jordan started realizing that whatever it was that they found was possibly some sort of ancient underground city, just like the ones we see in Turkey and many other places
Atlantis
throughout the world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. They went even further and they found what appeared to be some sort of cross hull, several hundred feet long, and sitting in the middle of it, some sort of huge statue that resembled a Buddha statue with a lotus flower in each hand. From now on, there are a couple of branches to this story, and one of them states that Kincaid and S.A. Jordan returned from their exploration to pass this information over to the Smithsonian to gather more men to actually explore this underground
I wonder
city,
why they
being
cover
that
something
it was
like that up.
huge. Now, according to this article that was published in the 1900s by the Arizona Gazette, G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan returned to the cave, now with an expedition backed up by the Smithsonian and financed by S.A. Jordan himself. They go deeper into the cave, and what they found would completely shatter absolutely everything we know about human history. According to the article itself, they found copper tools, including knives, spears, and other objects. They also found, carved into the cave walls, what looked like Egyptian hieroglyphs, which would make no sense, being that they were in the Grand Canyon, United States. There was also a perfectly polished granite stairway that led deeper into the cave, and it was perfectly smooth, as if it had been carved with some sort of advanced technology.
We're talking alien stuff here.
What is going on? Oh my god. What is going on now? It's it's coming apart.
I think that's where an alien civilization lives. That's amazing.
Oh my actual god.
And by going even deeper into the cave, this is most likely the reason, if the story is true, why it was covered up. Upon reaching one of the largest chambers, they found what looked like several holes on the walls that appeared to be slanting back at an angle of about 35 degrees. And inside these holes, they found what appeared to be giant humanoid mummies.
A huge graveyard. Wow.
Now, it's very important to state that this fantastic story may actually be just a hoax. However, it was indeed published by the Arizona Gazette in 1909 in two different articles. The first article was published on March 12, 1909 with the title G.E. Kincaid Reaches Yuma, and it was a short but interesting announcement that Kincaid was the only second person to make this boat trip down the entire course of the Colorado River. 24 days later, on April 5th, 1909, the newspaper ran a follow-up story to their first article, except that this time it was a full front-page coverage on the discoveries that G.E. Kincaid had made in the Grand Canyon. However, things take a very strange twist when you go over to the Smithsonian and try to call them to get more information on G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan. Many people have done so after this article was published. I mean, you can imagine why. And the Smithsonian always says, very politely, that no, there is no record of Kincaid or any archaeological finding regarding an Egyptian cave of some sort in the Grand Canyon. But here's where things take a really strong turn and become stranger and even more mysterious than everything that I've told you until now. After researching a bit about the topic, I found a very interesting article in CNY Artifact Recovery, posted on January 2014, that states, S.A. Jordan was actually sent to the Grand Canyon by the Smithsonian to investigate the information that was reported by John Wesley Powell. So this would quickly explain all the confusion why G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan are not listed under the Smithsonian. It's a dead end. And doing a quick research on John Wesley Powell, you'll find that Major John Wesley Powell was actually first director of the Bureau of American Ethnology at the Smithsonian from its founding in 1879. He was also in the US Army and former director of the United States Geological Survey. But there's more. In 1870, he was the first American to lead an expedition throughout the Grand Canyon to scientifically investigate the Colorado River. So this man might actually have found something there that G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan got interested in.
So if there's a link to
gold,
the pyramids
minerals,
in the Grand
or
Canyon,
maybe something else.
the aliens,
Not only that, the Hopi tribe
it makes sense
has
to me
already
that it's
talked
aliens.
about the possibility of their ancestors at some point in time living in an underground city in the Grand Canyon.
Baffling, which is the origin point. Our ancestors inhabited previous worlds before this one.
This cave was home to a race of people who would take anybody, prisoner, who enters the cave. One such story, a native called Anzip, who was an elder of the tribe, told him of two maids who entered the cave and were never seen again.
This sounds like the movie
Finally,
Bone Tomahawk.
after many years, they emerged.
Troglodytes.
And they told how they were taken into this beautiful world.
So the deeper we dig, the stranger it gets. But it gets even stranger if we start to analyze why there was a need to cover this story up. I would probably focus on two main points in this story, and one of them is the giant humanoid mummies and the Egyptian hieroglyphs and artifacts that were found inside the cave. They don't add up, but they would be a good reason to cover the story up entirely. For instance, the giant mummies. Either they were some sort of alien reptilian race of some sort, or they were indeed giant humanoid beings. And there is evidence to support that maybe there were alien races that occupied Earth in a very distant past.
That's what I think.
There's a whole realm of what I would call machining marks that exist all over these sites in Egypt. There's a place called Abu Sir that's been closed to the public for more than 100 years. You have to get special permission to go there. It's one of...
Bien, nos encontramos aquí en Chiclayo, en el Paseo Yortuque, y lo que más llama la atención en este paseo, se habla del hombre reptil o del hombre iguana. Se habla que interactuó con los seres humanos. Era un ser que vivía debajo de la tierra y tenía muchos poderes.
And there is also evidence to support that at some point there were possibly giant humanoid beings living amongst us.
Was that a footprint?
Start with this scene, and we look at what we're looking at here. They're holding some type of structure with a snake inside. What is this? Now, we're taught that these beings represent the very ancient dynastic Commissions, even though they're wearing dynastic headdress. The ancient Commissions are represented here. These are the dynastic people, smaller. They're just observing what was already here. Now, the lotus here nicely. This has been described first by Christopher Dunn as a Crookes tube, perhaps an electrical bulb. This seems to be working well. This is the Jed pillar, supposed to represent the backbone of Wizard, of Osiris. But here, it looks like it's what somebody said, a condenser, because it's working with electricity. And again, we're not talking wireless electricity, because it is plugged in. Plugged in. Now we switch to the other wall, and we look what's seen is over here. Again, and this is a very important symbol. This is supposed to be ancient Commission. He's holding the bulb, but here, the snake is being deflected. We have a creature here. We don't know what this creature is, but the important thing is what the texts say. This is a warning that this is a knowledge, a power that can be abused.
But again, these are just theories, but I'm going to show you guys some of the videos that supports this evidence.
Come on, get the camera on it.
Queridos amigos, muchas gracias.
I've seen this before.
Gracias.
What you're about to hear is real. My name is not too important. The information that I'm about to tell you is extremely important. I was an intelligence specialist with the United States. Since then, if you watch my other videos, you realize that strange things have started to happen to my body. If you remember, my eye has started to get more of a slit and a or I guess snake eye appearance. If you look at my other videos, or what I'm adding right here, you can actually see up close what my eye looks like. If you remember, my body in certain areas, like for example, look at my elbows on both sides, I'm growing additional limbs. My hands, my thumbs, they're extending and growing too.
The thing is, throughout the years, people have been observing certain videos that show some of these shape-shifting humanoids.
That is bizarre.
Sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and in other times I would say that the videos are completely fake. But who knows? Maybe this was what Kincaid and S.A. Jordan had found inside that cave when they told about these giant mummies.
The videos
that they
did
found.
look fake,
This is
but
the
not
case.
that guy's
It
elbow
would
and
understandably be a very good reason to cover all this story up. Now, on another note, if this isn't the case about the reptilians and all that, it could actually be giant humanoid beings that were found inside the cave. There are certain videos out there that you'll find that may actually prove the existence of giants occupying Earth in a
I'm
very
sure they
distant
did.
past.
I believe they did.
How little we know about our human history and so many other areas of science that are part of the nature of our reality. Very quick history about this footprint. It was first discovered in 1931 by a farmer or a guy around this area called Stoffel Coetzee.
Some of these footprints in Africa and Indonesia and other archaeological artifacts just scream out giant.
1931, they wouldn't be faking it back then. That's massive.
Also in 2017, ancient remains of 5,000-year-old giants were discovered in China. For instance, in this video posted by DJ Dudenate not very long ago, we can see what appears to be a giant humanoid figure inside of a cave in Mexico in Cabo San Lucas.
Huh. Yeah? Okay, that's freaky.
At a certain point, I would say that some of these archaeological finds and giant footprints and whatnot may just be just a coincidence, and in other cases, it could actually represent some sort of evidence that maybe there were giant humanoids in a certain point in the past. Not to mention myths, stories, and legends from tribes and people all over the world who tell of encounters with these giant humanoid beings. Who knows if some of them are based on true stories, but it might actually explain what G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan found that day on that cave. Now, when it comes to the Egyptian artifacts and hieroglyphs, this is where things get really strange. In a quick search, you'll find that there are Egyptian hieroglyphs that were found spread out throughout the world in places they weren't supposed to exist. And it's the case with the Australian Egyptian hieroglyphs that were found. Brian Forrester and many other explorers talk about these Australian Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Greetings from Australia.
So they have them in Australia, they have them in the
Sydney,
Grand Canyon?
actually closer to a town called Gosford. Well, I find this absolutely amazing. And what's impressive is not only that it's been translated by Yusuf Awiyan and Mohammed Ibrahim, who are, again, Egyptian experts. So the idea that the lichen buildup and the fact that the surface is the same shade as the indentation means that this is of a significant age, I would guess much older than 100 years or something, made by somebody in the 1930s.
I know there's several people that are interested in Egyptians, any proof of Egyptians in Utah. It was told to me by, I'll just use first names, a friend of mine named Scott told me the story. He said up in Morgan County, and they were deer hunting, went up Smith Creek, and deer hunting, and actually went over the top of the mountain, so they were coming down onto the Davis County side. They ran into some ruins in the brush, and it's just the rock foundation. Well, it was described to me as looking like a gravestone or a grave marker, a large one that was kind of heart-shaped on the top. This large rock in the middle of the building had Egyptian writing on it.
Now, when it comes to the Egyptian artifacts that were supposedly found by G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan inside that cave, I can see a couple of reasons why it would have been covered up. For instance, what if some of these artifacts were of some sort of technology that they couldn't comprehend at the time?
That is not an airplane. Why the is it so?
That's strange.
The actual is that?
Just to give an example, a couple of years ago, I featured several videos of what's supposed to be a mysterious Egyptian stone that has special powers or features that to this day no one knows exactly how to explain. For instance, it doesn't reflect on a mirror, it interferes with electronic devices, and it kind of boils water and reacts to water in strange ways. There's also a couple of magnetic anomalies that aren't quite easy to explain.
Curls the paper up.
Hey.
Now, at first, if you read a bit about the topic and do some digging around, you'll find a couple of articles that state that most of these stones are actually fake and that these videos have the sole purpose of selling these stones on eBay and on the internet to make some easy money on people. And I don't doubt it. There are so many fake things nowadays being sold online that who knows. But even so, it doesn't explain how these videos are being made. It may just be that it's not simple CGI or special effects. It may actually be that someone has a hold of these stones. Not only that, in most videos, sometimes featured by different people all over the world,
wouldn't want to mess
you see
with
the stones
it.
presenting the same properties all over, so I don't know. It could be the real deal. Whatever this thing is, it could be what Kincaid and S.A. Jordan found that day inside that cave, and it would be a really good reason to cover the whole thing up. Not only that, it could explain how the Egyptians built the pyramids, the megaliths, and many other strange structures that to this day no one knows exactly how they were made. And to my surprise, a couple of months ago, I actually received a video from one of my subscribers of what's supposed to be an Egyptian pyramid that was found in the Grand Canyon through Google Earth. And this is the video.
Right there.
Yep.
Train off. Train on.
It's absolutely there.
Whatever it is that Koga and JA crew found, it really does look like a pyramid. If you take a look, it even has the layers that look like the Egyptian pyramids. But I'm not too sure, it could be just a coincidence. Not only that, several researchers and books written about the Grand Canyon mystery state at some point how weird looking the Temple of Osiris is in the Grand Canyon. Not to mention that several caves and locations have been completely restricted to the general public for some reason. So either the Kincaid story is one of the biggest hoaxes ever created by the Arizona Gazette, or it's one of the biggest cover-ups in human history. But I'll leave that up to you guys. What do you think about all of this?
Well, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a hoax, or do you think it's real and they covered it up? The conspiracy dude in me wants to say that I believe it. I do believe it. The government, I wouldn't put it past them to cover it up. And that is really interesting to me. Let me know what you thought. in the comments down below. I thought it was pretty awesome. Now it's time for a joke. It's time for a joke to brighten your day. I went to the zoo yesterday, but I only saw a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.